Hello, everybody. My name is Soleil Gaylord, and I attend, sorry, I have to move this up. I'm a little taller. I attend Telluride High School. I'm a senior at Telluride High School. And I did a particularly non-traditional internship. I wasn't working in a lab or a hospital. I was actually working in the field primarily. Under Dr. Andrew Martin's lab. He is a PhD at CU Boulder, and I was working with his grad student, Sean Strike, who is studying the genetic divergence of the Gunnison's Prairie Dog, which actually inhabits the Telluride Valley floor, and its subspecies. So, here are a couple pictures from my internship. As you may know, the prairie dog is an integral component of a prairie ecosystem. It's a keystone species, very important in the Southwest and on the Great Plains. They till the soil and support a number of species throughout the U.S. There's 6 species of prairie dogs, and like I said, I was working with the Gunnison's prairie dog and its subspecies throughout the state of Colorado, mostly around the Gunnison area, the Continental Divide, and a couple sites in the San Luis Valley. So my typical day started at about 4:30 a.m. That's when we would set out the traps. We were trapping mammals. So at 4:30 we would be baiting our traps, come back to check them at 9. We would also be GPS marking each burrow because we want to ensure that the prairie dogs go back to the same burrow that we trapped them at. They are not very good at finding their home. So this, as you can see, is a successful trapping effort. That's a pretty big prairie dog, so our bigger ones might have weighed over 1,000 grams. So our marked cages were kept in the shade. We worked in a number of very hot sites, and we are allotted 30 prairie dogs to trap. So that was the maximum number that we do per day, but that could take up to 10 hours, so we were working all day long. And the first thing we did with our prairie dogs, I think they're really cute. I know many don't like them, but I think they're adorable, and I fell in love with them, is we would sedate them with isoflurane gas, which doesn't kill them. It just puts them to sleep because they aren't very friendly to work with when they are awake and conscious. So we would put them in jars and sedate them with that gas. And then they would be, you can see he has his little mask. They would be measured, and we would remove the fleas and count them, sex and weigh them on this scale. And then we would tag both their ears, and this is useful in identifying them for mark and recapture, and as well as useful for the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, because it's a unique identification for the prairie dog. And that's the tool we use there. It doesn't make them bleed or cause them any pain. It's just a little piercing through the cartilage, much like it would be an ear piercing for us. And then the integral part of the field work was the blood sampling. So this is where our DNA analysis came from. I was lucky enough to do a lot of the blood sampling. It's actually very difficult because the prairie dog's vein is about the width of a human hair, so it's really hard to find. And the tool we use to draw the blood is very tiny, so it really requires some skill. And like I mentioned earlier, we would be counting and identifying the fleas. This is useful in determining if the prairie dogs have plague, as well as determining the species of the flea. And then at the end of the day, we'd be releasing our prairie dogs back to the burrow where they were trapped, because like I said, they are not good at finding their home. So what I learned and what surprised me, I learned that field work is extremely labor intensive. We'd be arising every morning very early and going to bed late. But for active people like me, it was just a thrilling experience. And there's a lot of really fun components as well. Working with graduate students and undergraduate students who are equally excited about science as me, having really intriguing conversations around the campfire. It's all just a lot of fun and experiencing the wonderful field of science in a fun way. And in terms of future plans for this study, Sean will be publishing his PhD thesis within the next year, and that will detail a mapping of the Gunnison's prairie dog and its genetic divergence throughout the state of Colorado. So that will be coming out in the next year with some of the data that we collected over the course of my internship. And of course, we did have a lot of fun camping throughout the state, finding some esoteric areas, jumping in lakes, hiking, running, all that good stuff. And then we were lucky enough to have the team come trap here in Telluride last month, which was a great experience, and they came and had dinner at my house. Thank you. That's everything.